Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'll be showing you how to make this dress. I've gotten a lot of DMs about how to make this dress and this is the video. Okay, so the first thing you'll need to do is to get your bra size. So I'm going to make a chain that measures up to 7.5. So 1, 2, 3. So after you've made the chains, ensure that it is a multiple of 3 plus 1. I'm going to chain one more, yarn over, and then skip the last chain before the chain 1. I'm going to make 2 double crochets into the space and pull through all the loops like so. Chain 1. I'm going to repeat. I'm going to yarn over, skip the next chain and enter into the chain after with your double crochet, pull up a loop, so you'll have 3 loops, yarn over again, insert your hook, so you'll have 5 loops, pull through all 5, chain 1, and that's the beginning of the puff stitch. Now you can make your puff stitch with more than 2 double crochets. You can go up to 5, but what I did to make the dress is to use 2 double crochets. So I'm going to show you again. Yarn over, skip the next chain, go into the one beside of it with your double crochet. You should have 3 loops, yarn over, enter into the same stitch, pull up a loop, and you should have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And after it's like this, you chain 1. So I'm going to continue until I'm at the end, and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so now that I'm at the last part, as you can see, I have 1 chain left. So you should have 1 chain left. So after you have your hook like this, you wouldn't chain 1. You're going to yarn over, insert into that chain with a double crochet, and this will be your first row. Okay, so now that we have our first row, we're going to chain 1 and we're going to start decreasing. To decrease, we're going to insert a puff stitch in this space. So you yarn over, have 3 loops, yarn over again, 5 loops, pull through all 5 like so, chain 1. So we're going to go into every space that we see here. So you yarn over 2 times until you have 5 loops, until you have 5 loops on your hook. So 1, 2, like so, chain 1, and just continue. So in each space you make a puff stitch. Always remember to do the chain 1 after you've made your puff to complete it as a stitch, right? Alright, so now that I only have 1 space left, you're going to make your 2 double crochet, but you won't make your chain 1. So at the end of every puff stitch, you wouldn't make your chain 1. Instead, you're going to yarn over and then make a double crochet into the first chain 1 that we did at the beginning. So just find that chain one space and with a double crochet to complete the row. So this is how it is looking so far. So we're going to continue with decreasing until we have reached the top. So in the third row, you're going to chain one, and if it's easier for you, you take your stitch marker and mark that chain one space so that you can find it easier, right? You're going to turn, yarn over, and go into the next space right here. 2 double crochets, pull through, chain one, 2 double crochets, pull through, chain one. Alright, so I'm at the last one, the last puff, and as I mentioned, with the last puff, you're not going to make your chain one. Instead, you're going to yarn over, find the chain one that was done, and enter with and make a double crochet. So like so. Right? I'm going to show you one more time. You chain one, and I use your stitch marker, mark that chain one space, turn your work, and then make your start making your double crochet in this space. Okay, so we're at the last space. Make your 2 double crochets for the puff, and see we have our stitch marker here. So I'm just going to yarn over, remove the stitch marker, and just hold that space and just enter with a double crochet and complete that row. So as you can see, your work should start decreasing like so. Right? I'm going to complete mine off camera until I have 1 puff left to be done. I'm going to show you what to do at the top. Okay, so now that I have, I'm going to only have 1 stitch left. As you can see, I have 2 puff stitch. I'm going to chain 1, yarn over, and in this space make that 1 puff stitch. I'm going to make my double crochet at the end, and like so. So at the end, you're going to chain 1, turn, find the chain 1 space that you had on the other side, and make a single crochet. And with that, we're going to make our chains for the strap. So I'm going to be making about 55. These are some suggestions that you can make for each size, but for the video purpose, I'll make 55. So after I've made my chains, I'm just going to cut my yarn and pull through like so. So this is the first piece to the cup, your bra cup. So the next thing you're going to do is to get your yarn, make a slip knot. I'm going to attach it at the end. So where you have this string in this space right here, you're going to insert your hook in the space and just make 1 chain to attach, just like so. Right? You're going to yarn over. We're going to continue making our puff stitch in each space, but because we're decreasing yes, you start with your puff stitch in this space. So you make, so I'm going to hide my yarn, all these excess yarn behind, just so that it's easier to deal with at the end. Okay, so this is the first puff stitch, chain 1. In the next space you're going to continue with your puff stitch, chain 1. So you just continue until the end. So on the last space, make our puff stitch. And what I should have done before is to get your stitch marker to mark where we had the first chain right here. Mark that space. So yarn over. Remember, at the last puff we do not complete the puff. Instead we make a double crochet. So in that space we make the double crochet like so. So now we're going to decrease. For this part, to decrease, you want to decrease until you reach half of the original number of puffs that you started out with. So remember, so this is my first row, right? So this section here will be my first rows of puff stitches. So I had 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. So I'm going to decrease until I get half of that, which is 6. So whatever amount of puff you started out in your first row, for the triangle portion you're going to decrease until you get half of that, the amount of puff that you started with. Alright, so I'm going to show you one more row. To decrease, you chain 1, turn your work. Alright, let us mark that before we turn. So mark the chain 1. So turn your work and then yarn over, enter into this space and make your puff. So I'm going to continue with my decreasing until I get half of my beginning number of puffs. So I'm going to decrease until I have 6 puff left and show you what to do after that. Okay, so as you can see, you start to see the decrease, right? And I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 puff stitch. Now we need to increase, and to do so you're going to chain 3, 1 2 3, turn your work and make a puff stitch in this space here. So you won't be in this space in between the 2 puff stitch. Instead you're going to start in this space where you have 1 puff stitch and a chain and a double crochet right here. So you make your puff stitch like this, chain 1, and continue making your puff stitch in each space. As you can see, there's another space here in between the puff stitch and the double crochet here. So remember that we're increasing. So if we didn't put a puff stitch right here, so we're going to have the same amount of puff stitch that we started with. So I have 1 2 3 4 5 6. So if I don't put any puff right here, I'm going to have 1 2 3 4 5 6, and that's not what we want. We want it to increase. So yarn over, make a puff stitch into that space. And remember, as I said, at the last puff we do not make the chain one. Instead, you're going to yarn over and make a double crochet like so. So now I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So we'll start to increase. So as you can see, the shape started to change. Again, let me show you how to increase. Chain 3, turn your work. In the space between the puff stitch and the double crochet, you're going to make a puff in that space. So make 2 double crochet and pull through, chain 1. That's it. So we'll continue with our puff stitches. So we're going to increase our puff stitches until we get the same size that we started out with. So I'm going to increase my puff stitches until I have 12 puffs, like I did when I started the top of the bra cup. So the amount of puff stitches that you started out with, you're going to continue your increases until you have that same amount. So I'm going to finish mine off camera and show you how it looks when I'm finished. Right, so here it is, looking like a fish. So your piece should be shaped like the fish, like a fish basically, right? So this is how it looks. Okay, so after you have this piece, when you're working on the first couple, you're going to get a stitch marker like this and cut about here. So you want a long tail left because you're going to use it to join to the other cup, right? Let me show you. So this is my first piece that I've made, and as you can see, I've made a tail that I can use to join to this piece, right? So your first cup should look something like this. Now in making the second cup or second piece, you're going to be left with this, and this is because at this point you're going to be making your chains to go around your hip, right? So the first thing we're going to do, so after you finish making both pieces, with this being the first one and you have this left, you're going to remove the stitch marker, get your hook and put it back. You're going to chain 3. So 1 2 3. You're going to join the piece to this side. So just find the end and join it together with a slip stitch and then chain 1 like so. Okay, so after you've joined your 2 cups together, we're going to make a chain that is long enough to go over the hips, right? To do so, you're going to measure how long the front panel is. I have about 12 inches for my front panel, right? Now the hip size that I'll be working on is 30 inches. So since the front panel is already 12 inches, I'm going to minus 12 from 30, which is 18 inches. So whatever your hip size is, the length that you get for the bust, this piece, you're going to minus it from that. So now I'm going to make a chain that measures 18 inches in total, and you want your chain to be a multiple of 3 plus 1. So I have 69 chains now, and that gives me the difference that I needed for the hip size. So you're going to attach that piece to this side here, right at the end where we had our chain 3. Yes, our chain 3. So it should look something like this. What we're going to do is to chain 1, and then we're going to start by making our puff stitch. So in this space that we have here, we're going to make 1 puff stitch, chain 1, and we're going to just continue making puff stitches in each space until we're at the middle. I'll show you what to do. And then in the space that we did the chain 3 to join the cups together, we're going to make a puff. Oops. So you're going to find the middle stitch, which was the second one. You're going to insert your hook and make a puff stitch in that space, just like that, and it should look something like this. Chain 1. So yeah, it should look something like this. Yarn over, continue making your puff stitches, and remember the space at the corners of the cups. So I'm at the last space in the bra cup part, and I'm just going to find the space there and make my puff stitch, chain 1. Okay, so now that we've reached the section with the chain, we're going to make the puff. So this is our first chain here, so we're going to skip that and make a puff in the next, the chain next to that chain space. Chain 1. So we're going to make puff stitches in every other chain. So we're going to skip that one, make a puff into the next one, chain 1. So this is basically what we'll be doing until you come around to this side. So when you're finished making it, well, I'm going to finish making mine off camera and show you what to do when you're at this point. Okay, so I've finished my rounds. So when you're at the end, all you're going to do, you've completed your puff stitch, you're going to find that chain 2 that you did before, so right here. So as you can see, you have 2. This is the chain up on top of your puff stitch, and this one you're going to make a slip knot into that chain and connect them like this. We're going to turn our work, so we don't chain 1. Instead, we're going to turn our work and then chain 1, right? Yarn over, and then we're going to make a puff stitch in this space. chain 1. So you continue with your puff stitch, your puff stitches all the way around until you're at this side. Okay, so I'm going to finish mine off camera, show you how it looks when I am at the end here. Now that I'm back at this piece, what I'm going to do, chain 1 and then attach, and then make a slip knot, slip stitch in that space there. So this is how it looks. So I'm just going to go back, so it's basically clockwise, counterclockwise, just to keep this section the same. So again, so that will be the pattern for the rest of the dress, and I am going to continue mine off camera, show you how it looks when I finish all the length that I would like to achieve for the dress. Okay, so this is how it looks, and I'm showing you sideways because of the camera that I'm using. So as you can see, and in total I did 26 rows, and this is how it is, how it's looking. I'll give you an idea of the length of your dress that you can make your for each size. It is not the exact, it may not be the exact length that you need, but you can work with that and see how it fits your size. So the next thing we're going to do is to make the straps on the inside so that the waist can be gathered. I'm going to use a smaller hook size. So the hook size I'm now using is a 4.0 mm. We're going to make a slip knot like so, and then we're going to find the side of the dress. We're going to put it at the base of the bra cup, as you can see here, so right in this area. We're just going to attach the yarn with a chain 1 like so. So we're going to make a total of 100 chains on each side. Okay, so I have 100 chains. I'm going to cut that, and you can just do it on the other side. So remember, you're going to go at the base where you have your cup, right? You make a slip knot, take your hook, I'm going to attach it right at the side, like so, and make the number of chains that you need. If you think 100 chains is too short for you, you can make up to 150, maybe up to 200. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to weave in the back so that you can gather. So you're going to find the center of your dress, and what you can do to find the center is to just fold it in half. So once you lined up the two cups together like so, just fold it in half and you should have the center. Alright, just like that. Right, so you're going to get your tapestry needle and get the strings that you just made, and we're going to weave in the strings. Right, so we're just going to go in and out. Alright, so this is how it looks. So the next thing we're going to do is to make the straps to go across the bust area. To do so, I'm going to make a chain, make 200 chains. So now I'm going to weave them in and get your needle again. Where you have the puff stitch, that's where we're going to put this. So we'll just go in like so, and then weave in between. Or if you like to weave in between the gaps, you can. Now to make the ruffles, I am going to chain 3. And I'm just freestyling here. I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to yarn over, make another chain, and then yarn over into the gap space here. I'm going to chain 5. So this is what I'm going to do until I have one row with my chain 2 and chain 5 in each space, until I'm at this part, and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so now that I'm finished with my ruffles, I'm going to join both sides together with a slip knot, and you just insert your hook at the top of the chain 3 that we made, and make a slip stitch. A slip stitch. Right, now you could continue with the ruffles to go around, but what I'm going to do is to incorporate some puff stitches. I'm going to turn my work, and I am going to yarn over, and in the next space that I have right here, I'm going to make 2 double crochets, bring it through to make my puff stitch. Alright, and chain 1. So that's what I'm going to do, just to make puff stitches around. So skip this chain and enter into the next to make my puff stitch, chain 1. So that's what I'm going to do. So skip the next chain, enter into next with double crochets until you have 3 hoops, yarn over, enter until you have 5 loops, not hoops, loops, and pull through, chain 1. Alright, so this is what I'm going to do until I am on this side. So I'm going to finish mine off camera and show you how it looks when I'm finished. So this is how it is looking so far. So for the next row, I'm going to turn my work, and I'm going to chain 1, yarn over, and in this space I'm going to make a puff stitch, so until I have 5 loops, like so. So I'm going to chain 1, 1, 2, 3, then make my puff, so it's not in this space but in this space. like so, chain 1. So that is what I am going to do and go all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, yarn over, ignore this space and enter into the next one with the puffs. So that is what I'm going to do until I'm at this space. So I'll complete that and show you how it looks on camera. This is the full length of the dress. Thanks again for watching, and thanks again for coming back, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.